everybody, and welcome to Duronni's Echo. I'm Michael, he, him, and I'll be your Dungeon Master. A story of mysteries and shadows. Our brave party embarks on a quest in, and maybe even beyond, the walls of Dreadstone. Will they unravel the arcane enigma that binds them to unseen forces? Every roll shapes tonight's tale in a dance of shadows and eldritch whispers. Let's meet the players and have a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Nat. I use she, her pronouns, as does my character, Dr. Elethnora Duronni. Previously, head scientist at Nexus Arts Laboratory of Magical Sciences. Most recently seen, definitely doomed to death on Corazon at the hands of the elder evil Ragnora. She was abandoned by the gate crashers, so she's definitely gone forever, right? Well, maybe not.
Hi, my name is Tom. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Amaris. Amaris Giftig, she, her. I am a hagling and a necromancer, and well, previously I used to be an intern for the Monster Hunters. Now I'm a intern here, fighting the dead. Things never change.
Hi, my name's Talia. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing xin'moira Lethram. She, they, Dampier cleric of Kalemvul. After a small crisis of faith, trying to think about what good the gods actually do in the world, and thinking she's going to be more help actually going out and fighting evil rather than just staying in a cloister, or she bids a tearful goodbye to her family and her new team and goes off here to go and do what she can fighting the hordes of the undead. It's actually quite nice.
Hi, I'm Sean, he, him, and I will be playing Xirius Serene Potent Worm, also he, him. Xirius is a dragonborn armourer artificer / forge cleric. Trained as an archaeologist at Strixhaven, then posted to Candlekeep as an envoy between there and the High House of Wonders in Baldur's Gate, where he met his wife of nearly 20 years. When she passed, he left the gate to undertake fieldwork down at Dreadstone Wall as an artisan, and came a little too close to comfort to some of the ills there. But if you want to find out more, you'll have to keep watching the show.
Check out our sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for carefully crafted click-clack math rocks for use in your favourite TTRPGs. Phoenix Dice work with recycled goods, meaning their products and packaging are all made from sustainable materials. You can go to phoenixdice.com to check their entire selection, and if you put !dice in the chat right now, you can enter yourself into a raffle with the chance to win some dice for yourself.
Thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. You can join us from as little as one of your local currency by following the link in chat or in the description below. Our D20 Club are the best. They have created a fan Discord for us, as well as a wiki page to keep track of all the Roll Together stories. And you can find that at rolltogether.fandom.com.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a Dungeons & Dragons strategy video game that brings together D&D characters from novels, adventures, and multiple live streams into a single grand adventure. You can select your heroes and formation, then battle through waves of monsters for free on PC, phone, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. And if you put !code into chat, you can get yourself a free election chest.
You can find us across social media by searching for Roll Together RPG or by following the links in chat or in the description below. If you can't join us live and you want to see our previous episodes, you can catch up straight afterwards on Twitch, YouTube, or your favourite podcast provider by searching for Roll Together RPG.
Finally, we run queer-friendly tables and encourage and support trans and GNC players and characters in our games. Our players and DM may portray characters that are of a different gender to their own. We aim to avoid misgendering, but acknowledge that it does happen. We welcome corrections and have a company policy in place for correcting people on pronouns. Check out !safety in chat for content warnings and some of the safety tools that we use through the TTRPG Safety Toolkit.
Hello. Part 3. We've had an interesting first 2 sessions, but now we're getting into the thick of it, the lore. Or, to be fair, after last session, we might be sick of lore, but we're going to get more. But we're going to do it in an attempt at efficient manner, which is definitely immediately going to go like off the rails, and we're going to get distracted and end up petting a mushroom in a corner or something. But we'll see. We find ourselves in the library with archivist or, well, wizard Brandlehouse. They are a gangly, thin Loxodon, incredibly friendly, intelligent, and maybe a little bit of a mage splainer. But
Oh dear.
Do you know the weave? The weave's great.
No. No insinuations of bad things against my game husband.
I'm doing a lot of pointing.
The Dreadstone Library Vault has always been called the Library Vault, although anybody's always been able to be welcomed into. Anybody can take and leave, bring back books. There's no system on taking them out. But for the first time, Amaryllis, Moira, and Xerius, you've seen a different side to the Dreadstone Library. And that was when your Loxodon friend opened up a vault-like secret compartment hidden behind the fireplace. They put their hands through, not taking any sort of harm in the slightest, and pulling out some very dusty, clearly rarely accessed books. They placed them on the table in the corner next to the door, but just before they opened the vault, they did turn, shut, and lock the door. The first time you've ever seen the door locked. They're not particularly hiding it. They look a little uncomfortable, almost like a child that's been caught stealing sweets. Like, it's not quite something they feel okay with the fact that it's been hidden away, but has agreed to do it. Who would like to take charge? Or there are multiple books and volumes. They look like old parchment diaries, some of them look like proper leather-bound books, and others are just like slivers of paper, handwritten. In fact, everything is handwritten and not mass-produced like a lot of the other books that would be in the library.
Would it be fair to say, as Xerius, we're not kind of aiding the troops on the wall or, going out on expeditions, not that he remembers doing that. He's generally in the library, like reading up everything he can about the histories and stuff. Would it be fair to say that, like, he could quite easily access some of the tomes that he's read before and just, like, cross-reference where the discrepancies are?
Incredibly easily, yeah, absolutely. And on that, do you want to give me your choice, I guess, on the history, intelligence, investigation?
Can I?
With advantage.
Can I get? I was going to say the help action, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I still like the idea that he's like, right, I need you to go over there. And I'm like,
you may offer up the equivalent of a D4 if you can think of a reason why you'd be able to help. As you can't stack advantage, but I would welcome a D4 here and
I think the D4 is that Amorous instantly falling into intern mode. So Xerius was like, could you go get it? Should be there. And then sort of like hurrying and like sliding along on the wheelie ladder and like scramble. And Mage Hand getting the stuff. But I think this is sort of something that we might have done before, where you would just been like, yeah, you know, come hang out with me. I'm like, yay, friendship. I'll help you find books and make tea and stuff. So yeah, I've gone into research assistant mode.
Absolutely. Would you like to make your history check at advantage with a cheat?
Absolutely will, and I will go history because it feels like an appropriate time. It's the same modifier anyway. Bum. I definitely needed that advantage because that could have been 5 + 9, but instead it is 18 + 9, 27.
Research buddies.
Oh, plus a D4, you said.
Yeah, go on. Break
Plus more stuff.
13.
Just if you really feel like you need to.
I do. That was a 4. 31.
Yeah.
Beautiful. With that, the world darkens around us as we're going into montage mode at this point. So you may all, in this time, mark off a long rest, as this is going to take you quite a few hours of study and research, cross-referencing, going out, maybe speaking to people if you wish. But the first couple of things, let's talk about Dreadstone Wall and its history. For centuries, Dreadstone Wall has stood as a formidable bastion against the tides of darkness that once threatened to consume the surrounding lands. Its origins trace back to a time when a mysterious plague, which you definitely can reference to medical records and things like that swept through the land outside of the cavern, leaving to a devastation in its wake. When you cross-reference the mysterious plague, you find medical records of a serious, serene, potent worm contracting the plague and becoming very sick, and was cured by Xerius's own clever concoctions.
Oh. Do
There
you
is
think I've got a doppelganger?
We have like a chalkboard that we pulled out, and so you just add in serious cure plague.
Yeah, you sort of you're taking pages, pinning them up,
Yeah.
string.
As medical doctor, I'm going through all of that and just kind of going, there is no such thing as patient confidentiality at the moment. And I'm just going, here are things that are
The
important.
door's locked. It's fine. Other things that track this has been persisting for centuries, many years, claiming the lives of countless inhabitants of the fortress. And it does say that they used to turn them into the undead. But you know that no longer happens. There is an inference with the 27, and you reference a key that talks about a gemstone. Now, you know where the gemstone is, as you've seen it before. It's in the Arcanum, a very, very large, incredibly powerful one. Now, a lot of the references seem to reference the gemstone as a new beginning or a upgrade in the fight against the undead. It seems to be connected almost in a way that says that was a game changer for the battles that were had here. Now, this is something that you've read many a time, in fact, potentially even, depending on who has read it before, one of your favorite parts, where it talks about, in this bleak period before the fortress, of a group of courageous adventurers, drawn by tales of the plague's origin, classic. You know the inside jokes with the guards when you walk into a new city and they're like, oh, but they're off to the tavern. You know how it goes, but these adventurers heard of this rumor and came and ventured into the heart of the Dreadstone caverns. They hoped and seemed that they could destroy this. After quite an epic tale, they rallied a group of allies and themselves and went deep into the caverns. The battle was fierce, the magic clashing against these dark forces, and many verses, poems, and stories. I mean, this is referenced all over the place. But the first thing you notice when you take these new documents is for the first time they are named. Now, I can give you the names.
Please do.
Onum, who was a Azamar, he, him. Elowen, who was an elf, high elf, archfey, sorceress, she, her. Calum Bane, a shadow monk tiefling, they, them. And Ari Shine, a human life cleric.
Say the last one again, please.
Ari Shine, A-R-I, Shine.
And Abishai's pronouns, because he was...
She, her.
And what did Onum do again? I got Onum, he, Asimar. That was it.
He Asima.
A celestial warlock.
Warlock.
Okay, so job was literally being an Asima.
Just fly around and be pretty and heal a bit.
I write under the board, not us.
Not us.
Well, it's good just to check, to make sure it isn't like we're 200 years old and forgot everything. Anything's possible.
With your 31, the main piece of information is the fact that they were never referenced in the accessible books, and this is the first time you've ever read their names. And you imagine this is the first time anybody, bar maybe Randall House, and from previous discussions, potentially Odendro.
And so I've never read their names linked to the plague, but do their names do I recall their names from reading anything else? Because I used to work in
That's a really
Candlekeep
interesting
and stuff.
question. Do you want to make a history check? Just a straight one. I will caveat that nothing really north of a 20 is going to get you much.
Is that a history check that Moira and Riley can make as well, or even Nora?
And Nora, yeah. This is just thinking back to the names. I mean, these people are from centuries ago. So,
how does a 24 do?
A 24, 23.
Not likely to do it.
15.
I am happy to give advantage rather than roll myself on the basis of being old.
We've met the cap. Now, you don't know much of them, but their names are certainly prominent in old stories. They probably, they would have been involved in maybe a large adventure involving the saving of a city or a town and stuff like that. It's nothing like specifics, but the fact that you know of them, and then logically past that, knowing that you don't know whatever happened to those people. That's sort of the main thing of they were definitely famous heroes and adventurers of that time, and they just disappeared, which again isn't hugely uncommon with adventurers. They go and get themselves in trouble and just disappear regularly, so it probably was never really questioned that much. But now you're seeing exactly where they must have ended.
And the fact that now it's a secret, that it's not just something that people aren't looking into. These names have been hidden.
They've been hidden, yeah. That was my follow-up question.
Yeah.
Why were their names hidden?
Randall House.
Randall!
Oh my! Oh dear.
In fact, I have follow-up questions to the other stuff you've mentioned as well. But I can wait my turn if you want to carry on.
The other thing that you did know is they did die. They never succeeded. When they went
Were
deep,
their bodies seen?
Yeah,
Or did
how
they
do
just
we
never
know?
come back?
The text says the surviving, very specifically, the surviving allies, wise enough to recognize the futility of following the heroes into the abyss, chose a different path. They erected a formidable fortress at the entrance to the caverns, cutting off the relentless horde of undead and ensuring the safety of the land beyond.
Follow up. Who are these people?
The one's writing it, so...
Yeah, but who? I know. I want to know though. Who are the ones who said it and then said? Because sometimes there's truth in what gets reported. Then sometimes it's we make up a story to make ourselves feel good. We don't know if these surviving heroes knew anything, but we just need a justification for why we are doing this thing now.
So you're thinking it's not the people who survived, it's the people writing it who are just like, and then they decided to change, then go a different route.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to be the same people. So who are these people?
And
Kind of
how
history is written by the winners kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like what have they omitted? This is what they've chosen to write down, and they've chosen to write two different versions.
The folly of their actions, or did you abandon them? The folly of their actions, or did everyone die and then left behind you've kind of just justified, okay.
How long ago was this? Because is there someone we could go yell at and go, you knew?
So two pieces of information that will help inform you. Marshals are only allowed to command for 20 years, and then they're expected to step down.
So Adendra is due to step down.
Gasp.
Really? You're stepping up.
Oh, no. Oh, crumbs. It turns into, I don't want this. I don't want this. You're like, congratulations, here's your hat. Oh.
I think you missed the inference I had there. It's not like it's a good thing that she's stepping down. Maybe Adendra's time is up and that's why shit is happening now. Is there a reason that Adendra wants to stay?
Oh no.
You're trying to invoke some sort of ancient law to get an extra term or something.
I don't know. Mike gave me a love interest and I don't trust her.
Nat, just shut up and get your kisses. You're like, this is fine.
To be fair, you don't remember this, do you?
Oh, the feeling.
I don't remember. I don't remember being mad at her. That's the problem. We'll go into that later as well. Actually, what you said before, Mike. Can we just clarify? Rather than following them into the abyss is not capitalized here, right? We're not talking.
No, it's an inference of the cavern. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Florid prose.
Yeah.
The bane of all history. What do you mean he was a giant? Was he just very tall? Was he actually a giant?
Was he actually a giant?
Tell me in plain terms. Give me numbers.
So we can't inference why these names have been specifically hidden then.
As of this moment, no, it does not seem obvious in the slightest.
Even prodding Randall about it.
Randall has read the text, and this is between the 31 and Randall House. There's no I mean, you're welcome to roll, but I'll give it to you for free. As an insight, Randall House is on your side. They want to help you. They're helping you put things together. It's almost like a relief to them that this is out and you can see it. They certainly are not interested in continuing this charade of secrecy. And they will point you towards a piece of text written by Onum. Oh, my laptop just went.
As we watch the paper
no.
ignite. Oh, there goes that plot.
Yeah. Randall House is like, just get in, frozen.
Just retrieve it from the fire. We know it's fake now.
Just throws fire at us. You're like, no, the books. Randall House down.
Please don't.
Please no.
It's just Talia in the corner as he just left the pub. Just like going, throw fire.
Talia, put the axe back. I'm coming. No lock can hold me.
The letter written by Onum reads of a shadow-like creature. Solid yet not. It coalesces around the caverns that it's made its home. Huge, towering, but constantly changing, not to an extent of from small to large, maybe from gargantuan to large to gargantuan. And the description constantly sort of changes as they're clearly watching this creature change. The most clear part of this sort of script is we must defeat it or bind it.
How did that get out?
I assume one of the survivors took back the notebook, but it's a good question.
Perhaps, well, they mentioned they took a different path, so perhaps the heroes ventured further into the shadow while the author and the allies that they mentioned, these unnamed allies, took back the stories, I guess.
You might decide to give your notebooks to the people going back to camp, and maybe the survivors were going to get reinforcements, but then never got the chance, like some sort of explorers or. And then I add, could all be lies on the one. It's like, hey, if we're doubting everything, but.
I mean, the way that they talk about these heroes, the follies of their actions. It's not like this. If I'm giving my important notebooks about the enemy to, I'd send it to someone who believed in what I was doing, but had to leave for the benefit of others, not because they thought I was stupid.
There seems to be a certain amount of bias in their text, doesn't it? It's not written with the most neutral voice, is it?
But it does exist. It's not like it was then. Well, we've only got scraps. It wasn't like it was all thrown in a fire when they were like, no one needs to know. It's someone's thought this was worth keeping secret, but keeping all the same. And to be honest, at least it's here, not like in Candlekeep or something.
You suppose that we've been going off of the assumption that the same people have written down the actual history and then decided upon an abridged version. Do we suppose that actually someone's come along a time afterwards and perhaps determined that no, people don't need to know the full amount. Let's give them this this story tale, this this nursery rhyme.
The latter.
It would make sense. I mean, the most knowledgeable were there were some heroes. They went and they didn't come back, rather than actually needing all the. I think, as the doctor pointed out, that the fact that this is secret, that what's the danger in knowing the names of these heroes?
Do have power, I suppose.
Power of names, yeah.
Is I'm just gonna ask Randall about well, okay, things I want to know. Now that we know that, on my to-do list of things that I would like to try and find out, okay, so the obvious, like, we must defeat or bind it. Is there anything about defeating or binding a creature like this? But also, is there a marked difference in the presence of the undead before the heroes disappeared forever to up until recently? Basically, I'm trying to figure out if they describe this shadowy creature, if that's Umbrivore, if that's the thing I brought back with me, is the inference there that the original heroes bound it, sent it away, but died in the process, and I've brought it back? That's what I'm trying to confirm.
Okay.
But also, there's clearly still an undead thing going on in the interim anyway.
Yeah. So, do you want to make... So, I'm assuming you're doing this from like almost like a clinical trial attitude of like placing things, comparing, very like to the point, no inference until all evidence is in front of you, and then you follow the obvious lines. Do you want to make me a investigation check or history, but then the hard bit, as those lines are not obvious, maybe to your frustration, the lines aren't obvious, and then I'll need an insight check to see if you can infer how well you'd infer the information.
Okay.
Can some of us give help again?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
I feel
my only condition to the help is how you help. So you just need to tell me how you achieve that.
Well, for theory crafting, I'm like throwing ideas out and bouncing, and if Amaryllis has got the board there, we'll be like picking stuff up and putting it down.
I think that all of us, if it's all helping, is that, again, I'm making notes. Xerius is like, right, maybe look in that tome. xin'moira is also, so we're all kind of like...
I also, one of the things I wanted to do is basically looking at this description and also the movements of the undead, everything that I know through my training and how that moves and how that kind of ties in with being able to, if Nora starts going off in a path which I know doesn't match up with like reality, being able to direct her into that's actually this thing, and I know how that works. So you need to be thinking about different lines and kind of just directing her that way.
So you are riding on a 31, so don't forget that as well. Like the base has been achieved. These are now like the bonuses
Extra
to that.
bits.
Yeah.
Like we know that like the fundamentals, but now we need to know what we need to do when we get down there.
It's the scientific nature of like,
So I'm rolling with advantage. I get a D4
Absolutely.
from my detection elf anyway. Were you saying before, Mike, that multiple instances of help could give an extra D4?
Yeah, you can have a...
Gotta ask.
Yeah, why not? I feel like at this point, you're going to get it either way, so I'm not really losing anything by giving you this.
As we all attempt to be cute as buttons, like...
No, Mike giveth, but will most likely take away if later.
I don't...
No.
I can't show you my my tray. So I rolled a 16 and a natural 20.
Beautiful.
So that's for
Should
a
have seen
29
that.
plus 7 across the 2d4s.
Jesus.
That's a 36.
Yeah, I definitely should have seen that coming.
Wizard's gonna whiz.
Would you like to roll? So the information now is clear as day. Would you like to make the insight check?
Yes.
With advantage again.
Great. I still also get my d4 because it is insight and investigation. I get
Absolutely.
to use it for. I rolled a 19 and another nat 20. That's the best I've rolled in a concentrated time period ever.
Hours of the montage.
So for insight, that will be a mere 25 total.
Mere 25. So
how do we cope?
So you're pleasantly surprised to realize that you're like on the right path already before these rolls. Now remind me of the questions, as I've got additional information now to give you for those rolls, but I want to remember what I'm pairing off with that as well from your specific questions.
Am I right in thinking because Onum described this shadowy creature, his description matches the eldritch portal creature that I brought through? And am I right in inferring that because of that, the heroes must have bound it and sent it elsewhere, and I have brought it back through?
Okay. So, yes, but no. You're 99% sure that the power from the portal is what has brought it back in some form. It was already here.
Okay.
Nothing traveled with you. It's taking the power that you brought.
Right, okay, because it was so much power to rip open the portal, that sort of it was already there and it kind of smelt the good food and came up.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Dormant.
So the assumption is
Yeah.
that it was bound somewhere, and this power has given it a second chance.
Cool. So they have bound it before, though, which is why. So it has been quiet up until the portal opened, and now it's resurfaced. Great. And then the next thing I was specifically looking for was like, great. If he mentions we've got to bind it, and it's clearly been bound, how do they do it? What was their plan? What do we
There
do?
is nothing.
Great.
I draw a big
Love that.
question mark.
Absolutely nothing. Now, the extra little pieces of snippets of information. There is a strong inference of fear in the writers, and a strong expectation that nobody should go back down deep into the caverns ever again. The way it's worded seems to be very intentional. We decided the smartest move, the safest move. What we should do is pull back and create a fortress. Never go back down there again. Back away. And it's all the words in the text. And you go through all of the songs and the stories and the poems, anything like that, or visiting bards, people that have left these. Every single thing is always of the fortress is good, the caverns are bad. And when you put it all on the board together, it is so in your face obvious that if you compare it to the actual stories and then you connect the name of leaving the names out, why would you leave the names out of such prominent, heroic people? Humanoids of such great feats, because other powerful heroes and adventurers would come after them. And that's the last thing they wanted.
So it's important to the binding that no one goes near it because it draws off things that are nearby. But the portal's power was so great that it didn't have to be close. It was close enough because it was more powerful.
All clever.
Smart and brave. So we need to, send scared idiots down there instead?
Well, I don't think we're going to be finding any more scared idiots than the four in this room. It sounds like we're going to need some first-hand experience, do you think?
I think so. This ever-flowing font, Randall. Let's move on to that. When can we clarify? Sorry, did we clarify? You mentioned before that it was found. It was a game changer. When in the timeline was it found? Could you remind me?
That's vague. It's very vague. You see a couple of texts that say a couple of years in. You see others that after a monumental battle, it was brought to help fortify. And then others is very vague. Frustratingly vague, especially for a scientist.
And I'm assuming that any information about the ever-flowing font is like it just how it works, what kind of energy it is. That's all vague as well.
I will give you what Randall House would know of it if you bear with me one moment.
Also, while you're looking, remind me. I know we saw it before. How big is it?
It's big. Like a huge geode. And it gave off, like, even without a detect magic or anything, when you were in that room, it gave all of you like a, whoa, that thing's dangerous kind of vibe.
Too big to be portable and take down
yes. The ancient crystal is known as the ever-flowing font, which channels ambient magic energies to sustain the wall's protective enchantment and outer wall wards. So once they're cast, they are maintained in continuously after, so mages basically don't need to concentrate on things after they are placed. It's a very clever replacement. And for something to hold that sort of individual magical control plus fortification, it's got multiple uses. None of you need to roll. That's an incredibly powerful artifact to have multiple purposes.
Again, it is a good question. Where did it come from? to have something so powerful.
It's an
Yeah.
artifact level thing that's in a fortress in the middle of nowhere.
But the creatures, the zombies affected by the creature could break through.
Yes.
So Umbrivore knows how to work against it.
I was thinking if the heroes went and tried to bind this creature and they sent back their notes, maybe it's something that they did. I mean, doesn't really help the thing, but just romanticizing these people. But
no, if they're being romanticized, then they would celebrate the arrival of this gem. All hail the great heroes who prevented us from being murdered and also sent us this great protective ward.
Rather than those idiots who took the stupid path and did the stupid thing.
If it was like one of the first marshals, you'd think it would be good for their narrative to say, and one of our first marshals found this artifact, but even that's mysterious. I mean, it's also worth noting that things haven't been good in 200 years. Like, we have to assume Umbrivore is going to make things worse, but it's not like it was sealed away, the dead then lay dormant for 200 years. There's something... Is this a lesser version of Umbrivore, or is there something else which is summoning the dead,
Also, where are they coming from? There's only so many corpses. Once you've sealed the wall and people are not going down into the cave, where are the extra corpses coming from?
Question on a practical note: is there anything in these notes about a map
Of the caverns.
Great question.
Make
It's
us a
funny.
map, Mike.
Randall House turns and looks at Xerius and goes, you were the last ones that went. Did you bring it back with you?
I'm afraid you're going to have to help me out there, dear friend, because I cannot remember ever setting foot in that cavern.
This is
Massive
another
memories.
piece of the puzzle. Why is it... It's... The reason that we have to avoid being in there because it feeds off the smart and the brave. So maybe it's feeding off us in the form of memories. If we go down there, we might lose ourselves entirely.
But if we don't, it might take even more.
Or maybe we've already tried. And we've forgotten. I mean,
No. Nobody else has been down into the caverns since our good fellow Xerius and co returned.
How do you know that?
And then they go over and they take out expedition reports of delving into lower sectionals. Well, I didn't think this was relevant because, I mean, they only went into the next corner or two of the caverns. I think that's the deepest anybody's gone in the last, 40 years. And it's this simple report of undead appearing from the shadows, attacking, a incident report of 2 dead, 3 injured. It sounds pretty nasty. It sounds like they got trapped and then without the protection of the wall got infected. Pretty cut and dry.
So obviously, Xerius got ill at the end of this expedition, but would he have been well enough or had the presence of mind to make notes, to chart it? He doesn't remember it, but he's also the sort of person that would chronicle things. But I'm just wondering whether he would have had that that kind of capacity when he was...
What sort of notes would you carry yourself? Would you have diary, notebooks, something a little less vague?
I think
Post-it notes or the equivalent?
All right, so Xerius is proficient with cartographer's tools and navigator's tools. So I think he would 100% have known where he was going been charting where he went as he went. I don't think it would be kind of sci-fi. Oh, beep, 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 it's in my suit. I think it would be a physical notebook somewhere, but maybe just
you hold your hand up and then you run out the door.
I tried to run out the door. You want to do that again so that I can have a good exit.
Run out your quarters and you go through and find your map bin. Just sort of like a nice long tube that you keep hold of, and you go through and you open them, throw them to the floor, look at another one, throw it to the floor, look at to another one, and then
I wait until I find one I don't remember.
And then you find it. You find a simple sketch, not finished to your flourish, not finished to any detail, of a couple of sort of system caverns that lead from the main. Now there is this main sort of tunnel that takes you sort of deeper, and then there are like smaller offshoots, cracks in the walls, and that was what you, from what you can ascertain from this map we're investigating, any that you could even slightly see from the scout tower, which is at the very, very, very edge of what's deemed as operational area as far as the world's concerned. You were checking to see what's in, and you can see on the map you've got like crosses on areas that you've clearly been to, and then it ends quite abruptly.
I'll run back to the library and spread it out on the table. All right, I'm afraid I have no recollection of this at all. However, I'm fairly certain, given what we've read in the texts, that if mine is the worst case of the plague in the last few years, well, clearly I was onto something. So we need to follow my maps and go deeper.
It's a good start. Probably wouldn't have changed that much, especially if people aren't going down there. Okay, yeah. No, I assume we are throwing ourselves into the abyss. That's the plan, right?
I'm game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really much more of a theoretical scientist than an adventurer, but I did bring this upon you all.
I don't think you can blame yourself for that. Did you choose to come here? Or was it just coincidence? Because if it's coincidence, then it's not coincidence and there's some greater hand working here.
I was brought here because this is where Odendra is.
Nods, not fully quite getting it, but just like, okay.
Nods getting it.
Nods, but doesn't care.
Random House was like, I also understand what's happening. Okay. So we don't know how they bound this creature. I mean, we could probably just do general research into binding pauses gods, I assume, demons.
I'm gonna go talk to Celine and Faerun, see what they know. No.
I mean,
No offense, serious, but people who specialize in gods.
None taken. I haven't got the foggiest how one binds a shadow demon.
I mean, the more protection we have from the undead as well, the better, really. I mean,
xin'moira, before you go, I don't suppose you have any trinkets or items that belonged to Arcana?
I can have a look. I've got...
I know it sounds like a bold, out-of-the-way question, but bear with me.
Sorry, point of order. Was Arcana one of your memories?
No. So,
Lucky.
Oh.
I mean, not Arcana specifically, but Tsalin insists she's a bee princess. It's complicated, but insisted that we all have like friendship tokens before we all went off in different things.
Oh, that's cute.
It's very cute. I've got this one's mine, but it's got like a bead from Arcana, like one of her.
This is, I appreciate the sentimentality. What I'm actually after here is something that she brought here from her plane.
Oh, did she bring the beads?
I mean, yeah, the came from her penguin.
Okay, I need you to be 100% sure of this.
Yes.
Penguin has added to the board.
Yeah, there was no querying on Nora's face when she mentioned when xin'moira mentions penguins. She's like, yeah, the penguin, obviously. This is probably not in your plan at all, Mike. I'm just following Nora's logical like she has built the Nexomancer before. She has built an object that rips open portals that went to Corazon, but you need something from that plane to focus it. So I'm totally fine with that being a B plot that we don't get to, but I just wanted to have that there as a potential option. I'm just thinking if I could send it through to where I came from, then well, the positive eldritch powers of Ragnora might entirely consume the negative eldritch powers of Umbravor. And we don't have to bind it here at all. Maybe it'll cease to be a problem.
But will we then have a plane of positive energy and a massive monster to deal with?
If this thing's like the
It would be terrible.
mushrooms, if it's building off, Umbravor hooks on and starts controlling it, mutates, and I mean, you've been able to seal it, but we've established that this thing can get out of whoever binds it, so it's not a no. It's just it's powerful magics.
But Umbravor against Ragnora, they'd be monstering it out against each other.
I mean, that plane of existence is almost entirely destroyed anyway. There's barely anyone left alive there.
I mean, to seal it in a dying world then might not be a bad idea if it's trapped there for all eternity.
Would you need it now, or?
I think if we have no other plans to go on, it would be useful to get a head start on the work. I'd rather get down there and see if we can figure out how the original group bound it first.
Let me know if there's any specialist equipment or items that it might be a struggle to find. As long as the
I would
object...
appreciate raiding your lab, thank you.
Oh, I was going to say...
It can collaborate. It can be teamwork rather than, scavenging.
Well, I have a certain power to create things. You just give me an hour and I can generally produce something if necessary.
Now, this research session between comparing, stopping, and how I've said this probably with the rolls, I have to be generous. With 2 30 pluses, I can't really, or very close to 30.
Give us what we're missing, Mike.
Yeah.
You've ascertained and you've put together all the things, and with all these roles and the information I've given you, you figured out. You know where you need to go find the rest of the information. You've found everything you need to find. You know where the rest is. But you've only been at it 4 to 5 hours, so I'll give you a good 3 hours of time to prepare. You've seen the places that are on the map. You've met a couple of people. Some of you already know other people that you could go to speak to if you'd like specific equipment, items, advice. If you're wishing to go speak to Adendra at any point, or the other marshal,
the unimportant one.
The unimportant one.
The non-magic one.
Fulgrim.
The one who tried to throw me over the wall.
Yeah, the asshole.
Yeah.
Incredibly stoic, disciplined marshal. you're welcome to, but I'd invite you to wait to the very end of all your preparation to, because we all our RP, speaking to Ardendra. I feel like she deserves that. But anybody else you wish to, we can do quick fire, what you want from them, what they can offer, and then go to the next. Nora, I guess we'll start with you.
I think there's nothing else on my to-do list, so I probably would go to speak to Adendra later. But also, I guess just sort of insert here montage of Nora sort of trying to scratch down what she remembers of the Necromancer and the way it worked as a backup plan, and sharing that with Xerius. Please don't ask me to tell you how it works. It's magical science. But also will through that time be kind of looking at her cuff that she has on her wrist, and looking at it quite a lot and looking in confusion. You probably get the sense that this is another thing that she's lost her memory about how and why she has it. Well, not why, but like why it is important. And in fact, she probably would go to, once the sort of the main thrust of the research has been done here, she probably would go to see Adendra then, before the long rest period was up. Like, she wouldn't go just like 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
Well, we're off in 10. Anything to say to me?
Fade to black.
Ooh.
Darius, you've got 3 hours. What would you like to do?
I mean, so what I was getting at is my couple of levels of Forge Cleric give me Artisan's Blessing, so I can craft something. So yeah, similar to Nat, I don't know what shape this might take, but whatever the necromancer may need that we might be missing, like I can craft it over an hour. So yeah, just kind of working with Nora to make this magical MacGuffin, and then going to the lab, like raiding anything that she might need, and then probably also following to Adendra, because he doesn't have the kind of social wherewithal to realize why, or that might be awkward. You probably have to stand at the door for a bit and just be like, I'm going in. Yes. Okay. Oh. And then just goes to the pub.
Mm-hmm.
Amaryllis.
I think Amber spends a bit of time looking at the font, just sort of like getting the vibes. And actually, if Thalia's there, going, do you know? So like, I'm not going to give her all the information. It's like we're looking into. Do you know any more about this? It just seems to have turned up one day. Is it any ideas?
Not while I've been here.
Do you mind me asking how long you've been here?
Oh, only 3 years.
Okay. 3 years.
The information that she could give you really is it's hooked up. The actual like almost like altar pedestal that it sits on is like a link. It's of a different architecture that's similar to the actual wall that it sits on. And basically, as far as she knows, I mean, she's detected magic and it blew her head off pretty much of like the power that it gives off. In more magical terms, I imagine, but maybe not. It is Faerun. And yeah, it stays there. It has to stay there. It's also super heavy, so like it's really difficult to steal. Hence why it's kind of just out in the open. Well, in the open, it's in the Arcanum, but it's still not like under lock and key or in a dungeon where, if you've ever seen anything like this before, you'd imagine it would be at the very bottom of a very, very trapped, very safe dungeon.
Have you ever tried touching it?
You don't do that.
Yeah, because
Don't try if you try and link with it. Her warning was at her level of apprentice, and understanding magical, it would fry her.
At her level. But you're a higher level, Amaryllis.
Do it.
Your book says.
Do it.
That was a quote directly from Odendra.
Oh, Odendra said don't. Okay. Again, like, and then you're like, Odendra said that, and then we cut, like, it's almost like the dark filter just, and Amaris pulls her hand back. Yeah, no, sure.
Touch the blood.
Folks, my hair's also got incredibly messy at this point. Where I was like, yes, power. No, even like Amaris will like fix her hair. Yeah, okay, no, don't touch the magical rock. I slightly lean in. I'm like, you probably can't hear me, but we're going to try and fix things. I mean, any advice you do have that isn't going to blow my head up would be appreciated. Sad thumbs up.
Is this to the gemstone or your book?
To the gemstone. It could be anything in there, It could
Fair
be.
enough.
We know that things are sealed, so she's vaguely like maybe it's a sealed, celestial or god or any, if this has just turned up,
Solid logic.
Yeah.
Well, while Amaryllis whispers at gemstones, Moira.
So, I mean, the first thing I want to do is, after that last conversation with Nora, I'm going to go and hold that friendship bracelet in my hands and just kind of hold it to myself a little. This is the thing from the only people who've really loved me. The people who I've made friends with when I came back from my cloister on a mission to work out what was going home. The only people who were there for me, friends with me, we came from different places. And we're all in different places. But until I got here, I have not really had anyone in my life that I can remember. And then I'm going to gently take off Arcana's penguin token and give it to Nora.
I think seeing you be so protective over it, she'll curl your hand around it and say, hold on to it for the moment. The necromancer will be a last resort. I'll ask you for it if and when I need it. And to be clear, actually, this thing is quite big and we're probably going to need the ever-flowing font for it. So it's a last resort in the sense that we've got to drag the thing, Umbrivore, out here to it to make it work. So hold on to it.
I just spent all that time psyching myself up for it too.
Sorry, I should have been clearer before, but I'm touched to see that you have such strong bonds.
When they're the only ones, they kind of feel a lot. So, bye. Just leaves. And I want to go off and find, my other OnlyFans is Celine Berry, and make sure that they. I know we said we're going to try and keep things on a down low, but as the other official adults of the fortress.
Also, I love how none of us have the charisma to back up knowing how to end a conversation.
I'm just going to talk to a rock for a bit, so you do you. Yeah.
I think we established this on the chat before we started. Amaryllis and xin'moira are the most charismatic characters in the campaign.
Yeah.
We're screwed. Did somebody say charisma saving throws?
No, I don't
Please, no strength either.
Charming. We just don't know what to do with it.
We have no himbos here.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Where are all the himbos?
The himbos of an party.
Moira, do you have any bits you want to tick off your list?
Things I want to do. Any just combined clericy paladin knowledge on how to take down big bad shadow guys, whether it's something that they've done, something that, their teachers and various orders have done, something that might be in books somewhere, anything that they could spare, anything that does extra radiant damage or like a instant thing I can turn things into holy water so I don't have to prep it too much, and or if there's multiple, then I can give it to other people so they can make their own bombs. Anything that's useful. And also I want to warn them if there's this thing there that wants to eat the powers of the powerful and smart, and we are going down there and also losing our memories. Best case scenario is we all die. Worst case scenario is we forget what side we're on and we come back leading the monsters.
The entire plot. You're just like, so this is what's happening.
Mhm.
So I need them as the people I have designated as most likely to survive undead hordes.
So you go find Varian Iron, the Dragonborn Paladin, and Celine, your friend, head cleric. Varian Iron is, well, depending on how you take what the Dragonborn says, either really helpful or just sort of like, yeah. First answer is me. Second answer is smiting, obviously. And third is take a ballista with you. So take that how you would. Varian Iron is very much like, I am your solution to all problems, and that is from a very vain, bravado, heightened ego place.
That is why you're my solution for being here and protecting these idiots. We can't have two of you. If I could have two of you, I would, but that's why you need to stay here.
And Celine's convinced you're the solution to surviving down there. If anybody was to go down into the shadows of Undead, it would be your radiant light.
You have a lot of faith in me, Celine.
And maybe Varian's smiting, but like you say, the Dragonwood's got to stay here.
Someone's got to run triage for her and make sure that she stays up, Faerun. You're the only line of defense I've got.
But yeah,
Cool.
you're the solution.
Yay!
You're looking for yourself.
At some point, I will have as much faith in myself as you have in me. Dear Lord. Are you sure you don't have any, tokens or tools? Something I can hold in my hand?
Probably hand grenades.
Give you this cup.
Okay. If it's completely just you tell me it's something and I go great, and that I just think it.
I don't know, this cup belonged to a carpenter of some kind. You take it. Good luck.
Anything I could give you, you already have.
Except for hope.
And the memory
of
of hope.
rage and distaste for the undead and radiant energy.
And a
Nice
corpse
shiny red
weapon whip.
uniforms.
Fine. But the warning, if I...
How far do you go into it? Do you just tell them straight up everything?
I think I just give the general bare bones of things with Varian. And then I kick him out. And then I
feel like
go on, he's out.
That's not a new occurrence. I imagine that's something that happens plenty. Varian talks about themselves. Varian talks about themselves, and then Varian talks about how to kill undead. That's 99% of the Dragonborn's personality.
Yeah. And then I straight up tell Celine everything.
Okay.
Not necessarily all the research bits, but the things that I am concerned about for her.
She wishes she could come with you, but she totally understands that someone's got to keep them alive. Okay.
Mike, I have one thing I did think of.
Shoot.
At the end of a long rest, I can change one of my infusions, and I'm really struggling to work out which of my three to get rid of, because we're about to go into a dark place, so it feels like Goggles of Night I should keep. However, I might just make a light instead. So can I uninfuse my goggles?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to infuse my Lantern of Revealing instead. Because I have a feeling we might need to see invisible things.
Very clever. Fantastic. Now.
One thing before we...
Oh, yes.
So
now's the time. If you don't do it now, you can't do it.
Looking at the map where the Arcanum is, there seems to be like a little gap that leads to a little hollow to the side. Is that accessible? Is that somewhere I could crawl to be kind of by myself?
Do you want that to be Amaryllis's little nook?
Yes. So Amaryllis pops into the little nook, takes the book, puts it down, as Mal, the owl, lands and looks, and Amaryllis just goes, I have absolutely no memory of ever summoning you, and that's concerning to me. That's one of those things that I'm feeling that I'm... Looks down. There's something wrong with this, pointing at the book. There's just, because that's not... Look down and sort of go, flip open the book and go, you keep making noise, and I don't like that. I think... Are you... I mean, you've got to tell me what you've... I suppose you don't have to tell me. I just want to read. Umbrivore? Are you possessing my book?
There's quite like a jovial laugh, and you're not entirely sure if it's the owl or the cats that work in the fortress that do the ratting, that kind of like to stay in here as well.
Wait,
so
you're not sure
like
if it's the owl or the
around.
pussycats?
The owls.
But was it the pea green boat?
The cow.
I also look at the cats as something sort of bumps against. I was like, something about cats as well. Banging my little feet on the ground, going, frustrating.
It's really fun when anybody that holds a book starts panicking when they've realised that I'm here.
Hello, you. Have we...
Hey.
You know I've lost my memories. Have we had this conversation before?
No. To be honest, you've never really needed voices in your head.
I stopped. And that's the thing, I don't remember stopping. I know I did, and now you're here, and...
Yes, okay, let's play a little thought experiment.
Sure.
So I know why you have the book. I know where you got it. Well, you know where you got it from. You just don't know why you have it. And well, you're a fresh, beautiful, malleable mind. Hence why I've popped my little nose out. Now, you do seem to be a little bit of trouble. And to be honest, I do have a sort of mutually assured destruction kind of thing where I need to make sure that you survive this in some form. Otherwise, I'm going to be left in a hole in a cabin somewhere. So, I'm going to help you. That would be stupid of me not to. I would just think it's quite fun if you did the stuff that you didn't want to do anymore.
I mean... I want to do the stuff I'm not supposed to do anymore, but I feel...
Yes, and it would really help you.
But then it's getting... I'm losing control. I mean, I assume you aren't happy that some greater force is taking over my creations.
No, it's really inconvenient. That creature, Did you not feel it inside of your magic?
Yeah. And I'm not sure it's completely gone. I mean, they severed the tie, but...
Do you feel like a slight tingling of like interference in specifically your necrotic, but there's a weird part of you that thinks it feels nice?
As we're looking at the camera, Amaryllis, it's getting more sort of like, there's a glow to the eyes, there's more becoming haggard and like, yeah. I mean...
You could be the next Umbrivore. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid.
Unless... I mean...
Bad, really. No.
None of us are here to slap her hand.
I think xin'moira just gets like a feeling in their guts, like there's something bad is happening.
In the middle of that conversation with Celine, I'm like, no, Zilly, no.
You usually like slap out where I usually am, you're like, not there. Okay, so if we resolve the Umbrivore issue, then I mean, I do feel I have been reduced in some way, and the fact that I've forgotten wise. Okay, so just resolve this issue and then we can have another conversation?
Use me, and then we can have this conversation.
And I'll try not to get my throat slit in a cavern somewhere. Okay.
And I will do everything in my power to help you achieve what you want to do, as long as you use me to do so. Listen to the words, Amaryllis. Listen to the words. Also, have fun. You get to cast the best spells in the realms. Well,
as the pages flick through, and we're just seeing the ink drawings of like things rising out of the ground, tolling, and the phantom of death, and I'm like, fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And don't forget, I will help you, and that's only if you use me. And the voice dissipates.
As the book slams shut. I look over at Mao and I'm like, I'm still not sure about, but okay, you me too.
The head does a complete 180.
Creepy. Hops up. I crawl out of my little hiding spot. Book back into the holster. Yeah.
Before we get into Nora's romantic escapades, I just in case
Assumptions here. Wow.
Just let her get her kisses.
your B plot storyline is the only thing of light and life going on right now.
You are the new flavour.
You are true.
The new harness.
Just in case it ends up being used against me, I want to make sure then that I have gone and got some supplies of my own hemoglobin-based foods.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
To be fair, I don't feel great collecting it all. I feel like I should be doing something else. I can't remember why I don't feel great doing this, but yeah, it's what I do. So it's a safety precaution. So I'm just going to get as much as I can. There's, steal some out of Celine's stores. She can get some more.
And the brand be Hemogobbles.
It is now.
Boom.
Just black pudding.
Yeah. And then just make sure that's stashed away in, honestly, multiple places. So if I lose something, I've got stuff somewhere else.
Just a pocket full of pudding now.
And that's it, yeah. That's my pep.
So, Nora and Sirius, where are you going to go to try find Odendra? Are you just skipping the pretense and finding someone and just being like, where is she?
Yeah, I'll just ask someone.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to be wandering around.
You just yell at one of my interns. You're
I've
like,
been busy inventing things.
You head up towards the marshal's office and you do see Thorgrim walking across. Before you can even finish the sentence, he's like, he just points to the gatehouse outside.
Appreciated it. Thank you.
You-
Xerius, did you have questions for Adendra as well?
No, not at all. But just splitting the party and all of that. I didn't think that was why.
She'll just tap you on the shoulder and say, "Go to the pub."
Pub.
He just as he walks, pub.
You just walk past someone. Pub.
That's all. Yep. I just link arms with random soldiers. But I was just on duty.
Try and get some actual rest. You've been doing a lot of work.
We'll Constitution save that one later.
Please do.
Hungover fighting zombies. Like, oh
Greg.
god, you're so loud.
It won't be the first
Great.
time.
Oh, my
Not
sister.
moaning in my ears.
Hearing the moans, we're not sure if it's a zombie or serious.
Casting radiant. Oh, too bright. Just tone it down. Just
This is the real reason I haven't got the goggles of night anymore.
yeah.
So you cut through past the Vigil Tower and the Marshal's office and head through to the courtyard chamber. The courtyard chamber is heavily guarded with multiple soldiers on either side of it. And this is the first time any sort of like security has come in front of you, Nora, as they sort of come over and one of the soldiers goes, stick your tongue out, please, and open your eyes wide.
For what purpose?
We're checking for plague. Takes like a stick, places it on your tongue, puts it in like a vial.
Do you want to
Check your
investigate this
eyes.
one too? We'll lift the eye patch and show the. She actually has under. I should probably have mentioned this to you, Mike. She got the eye patch transporting to Corazon, so that would have been a new thing for Adendra. Adendra did not see with an eye patch before. But underneath the eye patch, the skin is scarred and like very slightly silvery, like lightning forking out from the eye socket.
That's cool as shit, the soldier says. All clear. Have a nice time. Just so you know, the gates will be closed permanently until this last incursion has been solved. So that will be happening on the mark of midnight.
No worries, I'll be part of it.
All right. You head out past the gatehouse master and these huge iron and stone laden gates that like take the largest of the Goliaths and sort of mini semi-giants and craning gear and things like that to open and shut. You imagine if these are shut, there's not much that'll open them. And you head out. And I don't know how much this would mean to Nora, so it's totally up to you. But I'm going to describe what happens, and then you can decide how that would make you feel. You immediately are kissed on the face by a really gentle wind and rain, like a really soft rain. They shook up in your face.
Words! Choices of words!
It's the god. That's really cool. It's like, no!
You step out and it's almost dark. It's dim, but you can see all the way across onto this sort of lowland where the caves that you exit out of are sit sort of just high up, and you look behind yourself and you can see craning its way up behind the entrance is this huge mountainscape. And you look in front and the land dips down into this valley. The valley is pretty scarce, but recovering. It's almost a plains with dotted trees here and there. And sat sort of on and outcropping that kind of looks down, and you can see there is a small village down there. Incredibly small, just almost like a restocking place where trade would come in for the fortress and then transferred up and down. But it's quite an impressive sight. In fact, if the fortress was flipped over, it would be a perfect place for a fortress to sit, as it's got a huge 90 plus degree sort of view out. The sun is kissing the very rim of the horizon in front, and it's creating this stunning deep orange and red glow, only shortly as the clouds almost take over, and you can see the bottoms pillowing with the red light, but it deepens and deepens and gets darker and darker, and you can feel what must be a torrential rain that is due to come. But right now you can see the ground was touched with sun briefly through the day, and it's now just being like dewy with the start of this sort of misty rain. Adendra is sat not in uniform, just sort of in simple clothing. You can see actually on her left, she's got a pinny of your school's, your academy's like sigil.
So you mean like a brooch pin,
Yeah,
not like,
like a little
an
pinny.
apron pinny?
No, she's wearing
yeah.
she's wearing a pinny.
A brooch,
little
a brooch pin.
A waitress pinny.
A pinny would be that. I mean, that would be a sight and a half. And a straight up curveball. A small pin brooch. Her hair, instead of bunched up into like a ball, has been let down on the back. And she's just sort of leaning back with her feet hanging off this little outcropping, looking across. Clearly not in I'm your boss martial mode anymore.
Can I sense that she already knows I'm here?
Yeah, you're welcome to make an insight check.
That's not great, actually. That's a 12.
Certainly doesn't look jumpy.
I think we'll just watch for maybe like 20, 30 seconds. Apart from anything, taking in the view as well, because again, I know we're not like Sword Coast, so it's different, but we are on Toril. So and prior to her jaunt to Corazon, Nura had lived in a cave for like a dwarven fortress underground for a very long time, barring like visits. So kind of just takes in the view in general, and then the fact that Adendra is there just sort of chilled and relaxed is also like just a little cherry on top. And then we'll walk over and sit next to her.
You know, for being a drow, I really hate being underground for extended periods of time. I like both, but I like both equally, so I'd like to see both at equal amounts of time.
Surface does have irritatingly a lot of charms to it.
Mm.
Do your underlings get to come out here and see the view as well?
As long as we're not in lockdown, they can come and go as they wish. In fact, nobody's even tied into service, you know. If you see something one day and you don't like it, I'll give you your pay and you can leave. I don't think I'd suit playing true or authoritarian, I guess. I don't know if I'd like that.
I hear you're 20 years of service are nearly up.
Very close. It's almost surprising you turn up just as it's about to end.
Why?
Well, one who was clearly less intelligent than me would see it as a sign.
And someone with your intelligence.
But no, it's just the way Nora works.
Very droll that I have that air of mystery to you. How do you feel about not working here anymore? Or will you stay just not being a warden?
After what you've read, do you really believe this place will be here much longer?
Well, I don't know. An optimistic person would say, huzzah, here are 4 new wonderful heroes that are going to go down into that cave and fix all your problems, send it all away, and then we won't need the wall anymore.
I'd say have my uniform and have the next 20.
I don't have time for that.
No. Time. It's a dangerous obsession, you know.
Though it's a funny thing that you mention it. I've been sitting with a lot of rage. And now that I'm here, with whatever this entity has done to us, I can't remember why. Not in a, it's been so long and I've just simply forgotten sort of way. The actual reasons for that rage, for that sense of injustice, have gone. And I still feel them, but it feels incredibly illogical.
Do you want to know? Or do you want to not leave on the same note for the second time?
She's going to... Let me just check the wording of this. Yeah. She's going to put a finger to her forehead and draw it away. And as she does, there's a silvery thread comes with it as she casts Encode Thoughts. And it turns into a little silver ribbon. Right now, here in this moment, there's enough of me left to know enough. If I go down into that cave and don't come back either at all, or come back a shell with no memories, no intellect left, nothing that is me, then you need to have this. For the last few years, I have been working at a secret facility run by a megalomaniacal idiot who had a lot of good money for funding for good work that he didn't appreciate. I'm led to believe the entire facility is dead. But there is technology down there. And more importantly, in my office, there should be an automaton with the sum of my research so far. I've been trying to democratize power to those who don't have the money or the time to spend eons in a wizard's tower learning. So there you are. There's my research. If I don't come back, do something with it. All of this is to say, I suppose, that while I don't have the memories of the bad times. Well, I don't remember why I was angry. Then screw it. And I will lean in for a kiss.
She'll respond, and she'll give you a very gentle... Tom just like, oh my god.
Oh my! It's
She'll
turned
give
into a
you
kissing game.
an incredibly gentle kiss, and she stands up and brushes her legs off, and she holds her hand out.
I'll take it.
She sort of, again, gently and very smooth and subtly pulls you up. And then, in a slightly playful way, sort of pulls your hand while walking backwards, not looking at where she's going, just looking at you. And she pulls you back, and she's like, let's go for a walk. And sort of like drags you down like a sort of a goat trail, and shows you like this beautiful waterfall, and some different sort of places, and you see almost a side of Odendra that you never really got to experience in the academy, or certainly not an experience you can remember, because you're not entirely sure. But there's this very like almost non-serious, giggly side. It's so surprising because of how to the point, and I kind of wonder why you were both drawn together so much. But it's like all pretense has been given away, and she's bored of it. She's not interested. She just wants to have a nice time with you. And this goes on for 40, 45 minutes, and you hear the shouts and calls from the gatehouse and the gatehouse master shouting alarms, and you can hear horns going off that the gates are closing. And she turns and kind of gives you a grin of like, we could just not walk back in.
No, you have a lot of books in there that I really need to read when I get back.
I'm not going to tell you to come back, because there is nobody more stubborn than yourself. And if you want to do something, you're going to do it. She kisses you on the cheek, and then she brushes past you, leaving you staring out at the view. And she walks back in. She doesn't say goodbye. She doesn't call you. She doesn't look back. And you can see her going from this very playful, fun personality as she stiffens back up, her shoulders roll back. She walks with pride again and authority as she swoops back into the gatehouse and disappears into the cavern fortress.
I think in that moment, Nora looking out at the view, I mean, she's smart enough to be able to put things together, even though she doesn't have the actual memory left of like why she was so obsessed with time in the first place, and then why she and Odendra never got together. I mean, I think it's something that she can sort of remember she doesn't remember the specific moments, but kind of remembers the logic behind it, and sort of just 20 years is a long time, but still nothing to her. And then we'll just follow back in and head to meet up with the rest of them.
On that note, we'll take a break there. Thank you for sticking around for a maybe an extra long first half. I apologize. But We'll take about maybe 5-10 minute break, and we'll see you in the second half. Please come back. It's going to be very exciting. And no more law, I promise.
Maybe a little
can't
bit.
promise.
Minimal law,
I cannot
minimal.
promise.
Minimal law.
But I'm going to pretend and lie to you to drag you back, thinking that there's going to be action, and then I'll tell you more law. So, see you in 5-10 minutes. And welcome back. So, long rests, research, beautiful
Rests.
conversations, very pretty conversations. We find ourselves on the wall, looking out. Your packs, either loosely or tightly on your backs, looking out onto the warded vault. Wards have been deactivated along a specific pathway for you that you have been told. Zarius yourself probably is the one that's quickly mapped it out. I'm assuming you have your map with you now that you previously used, or
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Transposed it maybe into a slightly more compact form.
The undead that were on the warded wall are still stood around the old wall, just sort of hovering, sort of watching. They've all bulged and deformed from their what you know them as, and they are these crackling eldritch creatures of such now. You can still see the portal's tendrils that are like hands touching on things and investigating. But you do notice that the portal doesn't seem to be pulling towards the wall. And at this point, now you're back on the wall watching it, the portal doesn't look like it's as whole as it was. You can see parts have almost broken off her and then been pulled deeper in to the cavern. You saw something similar to this, but it seems to be a lot more it's fallen apart much more than it was before. The portal is still intact, but it's like someone's biting chunks off it and taking them away. The undead eldritch fused creatures are quite spread out as well. They're almost like in clumps of 10, 5, 7, but they almost like clump up and are watching, but not moving. How would you like to go forward?
Before we go, could we have asked someone about like healing potions? Because that's always the thing one needs when one goes on an adventure.
Moira tried.
Yeah.
You could take 2 greater each.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Don't suppose anyone can cast fly other than Zarius's armor, can we?
No, not me.
I can help us if we happen to be falling, but flying not so much. Perhaps we could simply walk along the wall.
The wall doesn't go in that way, though, does it? Did I miss that from the map?
And it's all inside a cavern, so...
Oh,
Walk
along
along
the edge
the
of the
wall.
cavern. I thought you meant...
Or up over the wall, the ceiling.
I'm just
dig your
walking.
way back in.
I'm just going to walk on the sides of the cavern and just going to hold a hand to anyone who needs gravitational help.
Is this the plan? We can...
I mean, I'm flattered that you think I'm strong enough to hold onto your arm for long enough to go all the way around there.
Teamwork?
Does anyone else know how to do it? Because, so Zarius will... I'm casting Spider Climb, but it's the armor kind of forming a somehow magnetic to rock, magic link to so that I can do that as well. Anyone else?
As my limbs dislocate, and I fly back, and I click onto the wall, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can also do it. It's also, you notice, I don't know how. She obviously hasn't slept because there's like black bruising around her eyes. She must be very tired. It's weird. Yeah. Everything's fine. Is it
I think
concentration?
it is
Raising your
concentration.
potential. I unfortunately am very much an on-foot kind of person, and in favor of spells that I thought might be more useful in this current situation, I'm afraid I've removed the option of you punting me in via catapult again.
Ah, that is a shame. Well, in that case, I'll kind of tap a button on the suit, and then a kind of platform will appear from the shoulders, but then we'll like Jacob's ladder just like, until it reaches a point on kind of like his lower back. So you've got basically 2 foot platforms that you can stand on his back.
I suppose it's more dignified than you offering me a piggyback.
How
Very
subtle
well.
are you trying to be, or are you quite happy to be seen while walking along the wall side?
I'm a big orange lizard wearing a bright green suit.
I'm scuttling like an insect.
Oh, I am sticking to the shadows.
Well, one of us would be stealth then.
Yeah, I will try to be stealthy. I mean, thankfully, I didn't pick armor that is a disadvantage, but yeah, it's not my strong suit.
Can I, as we're on the wall, maybe yeah, I'll go for it. I'll cast Arcane Eye and send it into the cabin ahead of us, to try and map out the least populated route to get in, and then obviously once we're in, send it further down to see how far we gotta go.
You imagine if you go towards where the forward watch is, if you follow that down, that's the best way you could go without really having to stealth, as not right. A lot of the creatures could see you from the old wall. You can go up into the forward watch. The forward watch is currently empty. All scouts and soldiers that would be posted here have been pulled back due to the horde previously, but also the circumstances wouldn't seem particularly smart to leave them there. There is a little staircase, wooden staircase, that would lead you to a high turret position, and you could go off there and then cut around the back of the undead. And that pathway would leave you deep into the caverns. Your arcane eye would see these clumps of undead. The main thing you'd pick up is they're not following anything. So that even though they see you go down off the wall and then go out of their eye line, none of them followed you doing that. They all just stare at the wall, unwavering. No, their irises don't even move. They're staring, unwavering.
Waiting.
You cut around the side, and you can see now into the depths. And I feel like saying it's dark is a bit redundant, but it's dark. Very dark. And the winding caverns, they're all natural until you get to a certain point, and you can use your memory of the map plus the arcane eye to see where the offshoots go. And at a certain point, it just turns into this cylindrical half pipe almost, and then sort of rough ground on the bottom. You get a bit further in, probably, I can't remember the range of arcane eye on how far it can actually go away from you.
30. It can move 30 feet. At 30 feet movement speed, and I can concentrate up to an hour.
Okay,
So however
relatively
far you can go in an hour.
You head deeper until you get to this point where there is the half pipe, but on the ground there is like a 10-foot wide path that you have to follow, and it's drops. There are drops on either side of it.
I might send the arcane eye down the drops to see
They seem relatively endless. Like you see outcroppings here and there, sort of smaller, potentially maybe years and years and years ago, kobold runs, stuff like that, incredibly old. Anything that is down there, it's clearly very old pathways and stuff like that. As you arrive, you can see that this drop, and it is quite extensive.
I think it goes without saying, stay on the path. Do the you said this half pipe shape? Does that look? You said that didn't look natural. Does that look like a
It's
blast?
almost smooth. Yeah, it's almost
like a
smooth.
magic something has forced the wall that shape.
Yeah, it'd be like almost be the shape of a very powerful burrowing. It's still very wide. Like from where you're stood, it's still like 40 foot up, and then like cylindrical. There's nothing in your mind that you could think of a spell that would be that powerful to burrow through, bar multiple very carefully over a very, very, very long time shape earth. Even a very powerful person using shape earth wouldn't be able to achieve this unless they were hit for a very, very, very long time.
And you say this is further than Xerius's group got originally.
Yeah, you quite quickly get past that point.
You mean, is there any evidence of like the reason they turned back that we passed?
Unless you wanted to go into the caverns on the sides and not go straight towards the depth, which would be okay if you wanted to pop through and see the last place that Xerius marked before it was lost, or the deepest point Xerius got to.
Do you think it is worth it, Xerius?
I mean, the map does pretty abruptly stop at that point, so it could be worth seeing whether there is a fissure or something that let the plague through. I'm not sure.
I can always send the arcane eye in that direction while we carry on forward, but it means we don't have a heads up of what's coming up in front of us.
I can do it. I can at least for 60 feet. Actually, 60 feet for as fast as I can walk in a short amount of time. I can see where the undead are near me.
Whatever I can do would technically take me out of business. I'll be blind and deaf, so not really a good idea to do while there's massive crevasses.
Agreed. Watch your feet.
Yeah.
I've got a torch. Pokes a light. Turns it off again.
Well, there goes our dark vision for a little bit.
It was just like blinking, like.
Oh, sorry, I forget all you can see.
It's good to make sure that you can as well.
Yeah.
Let's carry. If you don't think it says anything of utmost urgency, I'll send the arcane eye down the path you went, and we'll push on forwards. And then if there's anything, we can always, she says optimistically, pick it up on the way back.
So you follow forwards along this.
Eyes of the Grave, though, before we move, that's 60 feet, technically times per second, I guess. So 60 times.
And does that tell you within 60 foot of any undead?
Any undead within that isn't protected by divination magic until the end of my next turn.
Very good. Yes, there are definitely undead around. Not on the pathway as far as you can tell, but around. You've passed many, these clumps of them. And although being smart to avoid them, they don't acknowledge you. Even when you might trip or make some noise, they're just stood, staring towards where you've come from. The arcane eye enters this cavern, and the cavern is, well, for a lack of a better word, empty. But starkly, the ground is flat and smooth. There aren't many stalactites and stalagmites. It's almost dusty on the floor. And it's just a plain cavern that comes to an end. Maybe an old animal hole, something like that. But just stark.
I don't like this.
That's more disturbing. That means that whoever went in there's cleaned up, and you'd have thought that, apologies Arius, but if you'd lost people down there would be bodies, there would be bags, there'd be something. That's just completely clean. That's worse.
Agreed.
Dead don't move like they should. They're not moving at all. It's too clean.
And we've not seen any signs of anything else like coming along this cavern ahead of us.
Nothing moving.
They're just standing there as far as I can tell.
When you reach about halfway down this cavern, you're losing the arcane eye, so you will need to bring it back with you or dismiss it.
I don't think it'll catch us up at this point.
You dismiss the arcane eye and give your full attention back to what you're doing. And it's at that point, whispers echo from below. You're welcome to make a perception check at this point.
Yep.
Absolutely. Sure. Yes.
Let us do it.
But the whispers echo, bouncing off the sides of the chasm below you and building up and up and up.
23.
23.
The
21.
14, but my passive is 23.
7. I've got other things to be thinking about at the moment. As my hands twitch.
You're not entirely sure if it's ghosts or your book.
It's the great conundrum. Ghosts or book?
For the rest of you, you know that voice. From the brief time that you heard Umbrivore, you recognize that voice. And as it gets closer and closer and louder, can you all make, unless there's anything else you'd like to do, wisdom saving throws, please?
Yeah.
That flat for me, because I can't hear that coming.
For yourself who failed, it would be a disadvantage. I do apologize.
That I was just checking. That's just like, book, what are we up to?
I wish I'd done worse at the perception and better at the save. That's an 11.
I got a nat 20 and a 9, so that's 16.
26.
27.
27.
Thank God.
Come on, possession. Let's get this done.
I don't wanna.
That's not fair. Tom's dice roll was at disadvantage was the same as my flat dice roll, and then your modifier just beat me anyway.
You just sulk. You're like, no.
But the three of you, it's like there's been like an ice. Someone's just like drawn a icicle down the back of your neck, and it is uncomfortable but not unbearable. And the three of you sort of shake it off, walk forwards, but you notice Xarius begin to just, where you're walking in a winding pathway, you're following the path normally, Xarius is just walking straight.
That mean that Nora on the platforms on my back is
Zarius, just like stare.
I
And
cast
Zarius is
message.
not.
Stop, come back, stop.
Zarius is not stopping.
Well, I'm gonna hop. I'm gonna try just gonna whack him on the head.
Would you like
Zarius.
to make another saving throw with?
Snap out of it.
you can probably like get the horn and just
Ooh.
Yeah. Can I steer you with your horn? Say like this way.
do another save. Did you say
Yeah, that's enough to meet the criteria.
19?
19. You shake your head as your left foot is hovering over the chasm in empty space, and you fall backwards, sort of falling into Nora a little as you sort of your heart, that sort of shock of, oh, I was about to.
Even with spider climb, you still don't get over that little sense of, oh no, this isn't a thing I should do.
Don't listen to the whispers.
I don't recall any whispers. Have I just lost a short-term memory?
Possibly. I mean, I'd love to have the chalkboard here, but okay, so we definitely know our mind's gonna keep being messed with. So constant vigilance, pointing at everyone. Just keep an eye on everyone. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay now? Do you feel? You don't feel the need to throw yourself in a crevasse?
Not particularly, no.
Ace.
Good. Speaking of keeping an eye on everyone, Amaryllis.
Yeah.
Work with your power. Control it, though.
Yes, Doctor.
You come to the next section, and concerningly, the cavern pathway stops, and it's just void of blackness in front of you. You can see the top, but it leads down into the chasm. There is nothing to jump towards. There is nothing sort of on the sides, like ledges or anything like that. It's just the smooth sides that drop down into the cavern chasm. There is nothing in front of you that you can see that would lead to the next place.
Can anyone cast light? We could drop a rock down there or something.
Can send a firebolt.
I mean, as long as that's not a gas seam down there, Doc.
I can create a little trinket that we can drop down. It's not going to be the brightest light, but it's 5 foot.
Something that gives us an idea of if it's falling for 10 minutes or so, then we probably know we shouldn't be going down there.
I'm just poking bits of the space with a stick.
Smart.
So I think, yeah, I'll use my magical tinkering. It will just take the form of kind of one of the modules of the armor just kind of pops out, and it's just like a little light globe. So, would anyone like to do the honors? No, just throw it in.
All yours.
It's your globe.
I'll like underhand kind of flick it.
You flick it out, and to your surprise, I guess almost desired effect of it falling down, disappearing off into the sort of chasm on sort of an angle, doesn't happen as it lands parallel to where you'd expect ground to be. It scatters across like there is an invisible ground that you cannot see as it skitters.
Seems to be an invisible wall. Would we like to check that out a bit closer?
Going there with my stick.
Poke it.
Just poke it.
I mean, that's an incredibly solid plan if you just want to tap, 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 walk forwards, tap, tap, tap.
Can I, so my magic item is a Lantern of Revealing, which, so I another kind of module just like turns on. This time it's just a very, no, actually, I think it's like an ultraviolet light. So it will just kind of shine out. So it's got a radius of 30 feet, and then dim light for an additional 30 feet. And invisible creatures and objects are visible as long as they are in the lantern's bright light. So in that 30 foot.
And is that the invisible spell?
What do you mean? It just says invisible creatures and objects are visible if they're in my lantern light. So I will... the module will kind of fix onto a slot on the wrist, and I'll be turning it around.
Frustratingly, nothing changes. Whatever this thing is, isn't under the invisibility.
Not an invisible object, it is. That is what it is. It's not an object that you would usually perceive that has been made invisible. It is just naturally invisible.
Incredibly frustrating. Invisible things should just become visible, but if the thing was never... if it's not invisible, it just lacks all of the attributes that would make a thing invisible. What even is that?
But it's pokeable.
It's very pokeable.
It's solid. It is material. It just happens to be of a incredibly translucent material.
I really hate that this expensive bit of tech is failing where your bloody broom handle isn't.
Could I request a cheeky retroactive detect magic ritual cast?
You have the time. You can pop it up now.
Yeah. Basically, I want to see, is this platform, or is it force magic that's creating this invisible platform? What I'm worried about is that this is like the creature in some way, and if we step on it, it's going to eat us. I know it can't be an invisible creature, but
this potentially is going to create more questions than answers.
Great.
But you detect incredible illusionary magic.
Illusionary magic that is more powerful than your seeing invisibility.
That's rude.
Do you want to make an Arcana check now?
Always.
Oh, must I?
Can I help in some way? Using the item just to kind of really go around the perimeter and conducting some more scientific tests.
Yeah.
And then
theory crafting.
It's up there.
Yeah, I will take that. Thank you. That's a 27.
A 27. There are more things in illusion than just invisibility, as you well know, but a lot of the things that you immediately think of would be illusion spells or creating pictures which you know cannot be solid unless it's messing with your mind.
I genuinely thought you were going for the this Wile E. Coyote effect of this is a painting and we're just looking at it from the wrong bloody shit. It's just a solid wall.
To be honest, I knew you'd think of that straight away. Was it a 27?
Yeah.
Did you say? Oh, I've got to give it to you. You remember when yourself and Odendra were practicing phantasmal influences on the mind to create pictures, and you also remember that you can harm people with things in those. And as far as you can tell, this is a very clever bastardization of phantasmal illusion magic. So it's a trick on the mind, not invisibility.
So, right, okay, I just want to make sure that I get this right, Mike, before Nora says it, because Nora should know. But basically, there is a path there, but it's there. It looks like there isn't, because we're led to believe if we step off and we fall, we'll take damage from the fall. And that's
exactly.
Yeah.
With a 27, I've kind of got to give that one to you, and also it's a nightmare to infer. But homebrew and shit.
So it's Indiana Jones and
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
Crusade then.
Yeah.
As long as you
it's
believe
exactly
that
Step of
as long as you
faith.
believe the path is there, it will be there. It's fine. Take the leap of faith.
Just you first.
This stick. And I'm just going to poke my way across.
Wherever you walk, you're fine.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Just still following Xin'moira's footsteps. But okay.
Just reciting the beginning parts of a feather fall just in case, but just like
Yeah.
stopping before a full cast. Yeah, we'll follow.
You walk through, and the half pipe begins to sort of twist and go lower, and the ground appears before you once again. At this point, you look around and you can see that the ground was always there when you turn back on yourselves. Whether that's frustrating or impressive, that's totally up to you, but you turn and can move forwards. It curves round to a point, and the cavern opens up into this huge circular basin. In the middle, you can see there is a plinth sort of in the middle, and then everything is smooth and circular and creates this egg-like room.
I just had a question, Mike. From my detecting magic on the phantasmal force illusion, did I get the sense that I mean, this is quite a long shot, I appreciate, but just got to ask, and did I get the sense that that is a sort of a deterrent laid by the original heroes, or do we think that that might be more magic from the eldritch creature?
Definitely the shadow creature with a 27.
Shadow magic. Okay, cool.
Malicious rather than protective. That's worrying.
It doesn't want us down here.
Or it wants to test us. See if we're worthy of...
So before we get in, I don't want things popping out of nowhere or hitting you, or more brain things. Don't be stupid. Keep your wits about you. Stay safe. And I'm casting motivational speech. That is my motivational speech.
Don't be idiots.
It's just like eyebrows all around and being like, it's weird, that really shouldn't work, but I do actually feel motivated.
As you talk to Moira, Nora, especially with your passive, you kind of like twitch your head up as you sort of look, and you can see being sort of whisked past you are small clumps of essence of negative energy that pass through you at sort of high speed, leading into the center of this egg-like shaped cavern and smashing into it. And as soon as you follow the light from what you couldn't see before, you suddenly see this being of shadow, curling, large if not gargantuan in size, sat in the middle. A twisted embodiment of stolen memories. You can notice, and you don't know why you know they're yours, but they're yours. All four of you look, and you can see swishing around inside Amaryllis. You can see yourself running from something, holding the book in your hands. You don't know what it is, and you know it's you, but you don't remember doing that. Moira, you can see yourself laid in a bed with white sheets on, and you sitting up and looking at your own hands in horror. Screams coming out of your mouth. Silent, but you can see terror, frustration, and panic in your eyes as it gets pulled away by this curling shadow that's building and building, and you can see crackling eldritch energy. Xerius, you can see the moment you were on your back, wrapped in black shadowy tendrils, fighting them off with your fists, blasting and turning, and you can see your friends being ripped to pieces by shadowy creatures. And then it flips again. And all of your 5 memories that you don't know are yours, but they're yours, you know they're yours, are swirling around. Something it is doing is harnessing the power of the portal. Its form, although bending and changing, is a grotesque amalgamation of shifting shadows and ethereal wisps now. A humanoid figure is centered in the middle, with elongated limbs and tendrils that are almost matching that same inquisitive touch that the portal was doing when it first arrived. It moves with an unsettling fluidity, as if it's not entirely bound by the laws of the material plane. And you're not sure if that's something new or if something that it always was. Its eyes, 2 burning orbs of captured burning memories, flicker with the haunted reflections of new memories that you see flittering by, of a warrior battling, casting spells. You can see a group of 4 heroes fighting, and it's like their memories have suddenly been formed in there, intertwining with yours. Its form constantly morphs, displaying moments back and forth. An eerie whisper emanates from the humanoid silhouette that's in the middle. But this time not that velvety accent that you heard from before, and it's your voice. It's voices that you don't recognize. Xerius' voice comes through. Moira's voice comes through. It's already stealing your presence. But on the outside, you can see 5 figures, ethereal in nature, stood equal parts around the shadowy creature, holding their hands out, quivering. They seem to be pushing some sort of magic towards the shadowy creature.
I just wanted to check, Mike, double check that you didn't describe seeing any of Nora's memories. I wanted to double check that was just the way you were narrating it, or was it a specific plot point that we wanted to pick up on? Okay, cool.
You can
That's
definitely see all of the memories that you don't know are yours, but they've certainly.
It wasn't a, but what about me moment? It was a,
J'accuse.
why not?
You are homunculus. You are.
Look, I'm just sitting here thinking, why is the series called what it's called? What is this? What have I done?
We cut to Tusk. I've created a time wizard here in my lab using cloning.
You're about 60 foot away. You'd have to take a sort of staircase down that would take you to the bottom, and then you'd have to sort of follow it up to where this plinth sits.
Also, did we get the encouraging, lovely speech before this utter horror? So,
oh, yes.
Remember what we get from that?
Yeah,
the 10 hit points.
5 temp hit points, and then advantages on wisdom saving throws and other stuff, which I'm not looking at right now because I closed it. Oh, yeah, and if you are hit by an attack, then you have an advantage on your next attack roll. So just a whole bunch of nice things. I'll pop it in the chat.
Thank you.
Cool.
And the mods will pop it in the chat too.
Face kobolds.
It's the advantage on wisdom saving throws that's the spicy thing here, I think.
I'm also going to pop in another Eyes of the Grave just to make sure there's nothing else hidden around that we need to account for.
Check every corner.
This feels like a big important room. I don't want us to be dealing with that and then also random extra undead.
We're in the walls.
So yeah, just popping off another one of those. Are there any other? I mean, is this creature undead? Because I'll be able to tell that as well. And then
Very, 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 very undead, yes.
Cool.
And the other 4, there's 4 undead energies coming from the outside. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Oh. Okay.
Wait, sorry, say that again?
So there's 5 humanoids stood with their hands holding towards the shadowy creature. 4 of them are giving undead energy.
And is it the Asimar? Are they okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that this is the binding that the 4 heroes. So their essence is what's holding him in. But you said there's a 5th one.
Yeah.
There were 5 of them originally. No, there were 4 of them.
No, there are 4.
There were 4.
Yeah.
So who's the 5th?
Harbinger.
And they're not dead. Or not undead.
They're not undead.
They're not undead.
Again, I'm like looking through the kaleidoscope, like mystery. Who are you? You breathing?
Can we hear what they're saying?
I also know the location, so I can tell that it's not the ones that we recognise as the 4 heroes. So it's the 5th one that's definitely still not undead.
Mm-hmm.
That's a complicated way to say it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had to take a second to go like beep, bop, beep. Yes.
Yes.
And how did you say it was like 60 foot down?
Yes.
So it's
they're
within
not, like,
visual identification range.
and they're too vague. Like they're giving off this silhouette of a humanoid face, like body, but then you'd have to get close.
I mean, I don't mind that, but I suspect the 2 wizards, and unfortunately it's one of the wizards that I'm thinking might stand a chance at recognizing extra figure.
I can send another arcane eye down there, but it's another level 4 spell slot.
Burning through those, you don't
Yes,
know.
burn them. Do that.
I'm gonna arcane recovery while we're stood here and get that back though.
Look at me, I'm a wizard.
I want my magic back.
I can do it as a cleric, but not much.
I might just go and I can, once the wizards are done, I can ask them where's a good spot for them to hide, and I can make them a little safe zone before we go down as well.
Ritual cast tiny hut.
Just leave that there for emergency.
Just hang out up here. A tiny hut over the ritual.
Doesn't it dissipate as soon as you leave it, the tiny hut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if we leave Nora in the hut.
Just stood there like making paper chains.
Hey team, don't mind me.
Look, someone needs to take the notes back to camp.
It's
Someone
tradition
needs
now.
to complete their love story.
Yeah. I just come
Okay,
back.
I'm gonna push you a little bit. What
we
would you
need
like
to
do?
go. We need to go, but once we're down there, if you and the wizards tell me somewhere where you guys want to put yourself, I can make you a little safe zone where any undead have difficulty getting in and affecting you. But I think that once that's up and everyone, yeah.
In an ideal world, there'd be a nice little platform, just a little bit higher up than everything else that we can perch on. I don't suppose anyone can see one of those, can they?
Oh, if just make sure I don't fall down. My eyes roll back as the owl takes off, so I'm gonna go up a little bit, and basically I'm walking into my owl so I can have a better look around. Can I roll a perception for
How
Mark?
close are you letting the owl get? Because you very specifically need to get close. That's
You're
becoming
going
obvious.
up and away, weren't you?
Up and away, yeah. So
So that won't help. I mean, it'll give you a wider berth and you're not going to get surprised by anything.
That wouldn't be a terrible idea if we also, because that we're looking for a ledge as well. If we can find.
But the point is, if we need to get closer, then we need to go down. So, I mean, we can spell snipe from 60 feet away, but we need to get
Absolutely.
closer. So it's like, is there somewhere in split the difference? Is there somewhere 15 foot up, 30 foot up that we could poise on? I did prepare Featherfall this time.
We are incrementally moving.
To remind you of the shape, it's like a smooth shell of an egg.
So no ledges.
No happy
it's
little
like a
ledge
curve
friend.
going up.
Okay, I guess sort of curve, because you're saying like, is it where we are? Like, is it a drop down?
It's a staircase that takes you down to the curved floor. It starts like an egg.
Yeah.
And then it curves in and then back up where the plinth is.
So there's no horrible crevasses in here. It's not like, okay, so it's just
very smooth.
I think Mao just does a circle and then comes back. Yeah, no, it's smooth. It's blood. Yeah, no, it's absolutely. Yeah, there's not really any hiding holes.
It's
here.
like without skipping a beat, we'll just like hand you a handkerchief. I think last time it wanted to talk. I banished the host it was talking through, but it was quite keen on talking and was actually quite interested in you, Amaryllis. So I'm wondering if just walking down, it might be chatty rather than attacking us on sight.
Yeah. If it goes wrong, just like take my head off. That should stop me. I start walking down the steps.
Goes wrong, I'll throw you in a magic circle. You've already got advantage on your wisdom. Just keep going.
What does this mechanic mean?
Are all four of you marching down, or are you, Amaryllis, just going?
Magic school.
Yeah, I would have followed Amaryllis as soon as she started wandering down.
Yeah.
I'm specific. Sorry.
No, you go.
No, you.
I want.
Well, I'll go.
I'm specifically walking down, not riding on Xerius's little armor platform.
You
Good,
step
because there was
down.
something I could catapult you off.
I mean,
And-
you can. It just they won't be in a ball.
The waves of energy and the shadows are picking up, and it is creating a vortex in this room. And you can feel the wind, stale as it is, in the cavern below, building and building. As you come, you come up behind. You could probably see two of them, and for the sake of Moira's spell, one of them on the left is one of the undead. The one on the right, closest to you, is the one that isn't giving you undead. So it's up to you. You can't. They have their backs to you at this point, and the I guess apparitions would be a word not to be picked out exactly. Are too fluid from seeing them behind to identify. I guess in a way you could probably tell one would be quite a lot taller than the other. That's probably the only big hint at anything.
So is the tallest one undead or not? Just
The tallest one is the undead. The shorter
Right.
one, not that much shorter, to be fair, is on the right.
Can you remind me what the I've got written down? Onum was an Asimar, Elowen was an elf, but I didn't write down.
I've got it.
I can quickly go that through. Onum is, Asmar. Elowen was a high elf. Calum was a tiefling. And
Yeah.
Ari was a human.
Yeah, they're all standard size.
Helen was a shadow monk, I had noted as well.
I mean, no horns. That's it seems.
Well, yeah, are there any horns on any of the shadows? Any tails?
They're things that would potentially be picked up. Do you want to make a perception check?
Yes, please.
Please.
Yeah.
And do any of us at this at this distance kind of recognize the shadowy, not undead figure?
From behind? Once you've done these rolls, I'll tell you.
Mine's a filthy 20.
Filthy. Disgusting.
That's
Shadowy.
fine.
Anybody else?
14. Not great.
12.
13. Again.
13.
I think I've got other concerns. Yeah.
Murky 20 is the winner.
Yes to horns. Yes to wings. Yes to pointy ears. And you don't know why, but you feel like Nora should approach the undead. The not undead.
You can talk to the dead. Go on.
You're the only one without a connection. Go on, make one.
Going for to start off with. Yeah, just push her with the other shoulder.
I'm not entirely sure what's giving me this feeling, but I get the sense that you're the key here. We've got your back.
Slowly walk forward towards it.
You come relatively parallel, probably still a little further back. And maybe part of you that doesn't want to believe, but you turn and the face that's holding up her hands glances to the side, locks eyes with you, and then looks back to what she's doing. About bloody time. And you can see yourself.
Thought as much.
Where have you been?
Different plane or different time?
Same person.
Different time. So I cracked it then.
No, I don't know if you're getting the right idea, but we've got a problem to solve. I'm part of you trying to solve your problem on your behalf.
Huh. What do you need from us? What have you figured out so far?
You've got two options. Sorry, in advance, I cannot do Irish. American-y Irish at all.
Time has changed the accent.
Mine has not been flawless either.
No, but you just got to commit to stuff and then let people laugh at you. It's great.
Mike, I have entirely
great.
forgotten in the same episode, like an NPC's accent. Like it happens to all of us.
Now you're closer. You can see that this is an ethereal projection of yourself. The magic is different to the undead binding ritual that's going on. Whatever your projection is doing is supplementing and adding to it. There is a power, but you can tell the power is negative energy. Like it's being powered by the portal. One could maybe call it an echo.
He said the title. Sort of.
Take a drink. Shot.
The
Really got
echo
water.
switches from speaking openly and begins to speak to you all in your minds.
Uh-huh.
This isn't going to hold forever. As far as I can tell, you've got two options. Don't think you're gonna like them. But facts are facts. Give up your memories that are in there, and maybe some more. A sacrifice, well, I know for me, a sacrifice about beyond measure. I've got far too much memories that are important. But it will sever the connection between the anchor and the portal. If you give up your memory, the portal will have nothing to hold on to keep it here and will dissipate. That's what it's using as its holding place. It's taken your memories and is using it to hold it in place. If you give them up and no longer hold subconsciously onto them, it will have nothing left to tether to, but you'll lose your memories forever. Or, as I really cleverly thought, because I knew Nora's not going to be a fan of that option, well, I'm not going to be. Hey, you get what I mean. Accept the power given back from us stopping the binding spell and release Umbrivor in its eldritch form. That doesn't sound like a very good idea, but we can give you something that could potentially destroy Umbrivor and not just end this situation, but end Dreadstone forever.
And that is?
You can finally kill Umbrivor, the power and the source of all of the creatures that have been attacking.
And that item is?
It would mean giving you back the power that what's left of these heroes are using to bind it in the form, well, I think I can pass you on. I cannot explain to you in terms, well, maybe Nora, but it would take years for me to explain how the rest of you would use this. But if we all give you it at the same time, I think I can pass on my limited understanding of how this works to you all, and you will be able to use it together.
Use it in what way? Also, don't underestimate them. They learned the basics of planar physics in about an hour.
Just when I thought I couldn't be more offended.
You must be from a timeline where Nora didn't meet us, and it's the worst timeline. Yeah.
It actually is. If she is an echo of me, then she literally hasn't met you.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a loss.
Real Nora's correct. I formed as soon as Nora passed through the portal.
I feel a little bit sad for calling her real Nora. I'm like,
it's really funny because then that Nora doesn't seem to give a fuck.
Yeah.
Seems very like understanding and content in the situation that she's in. It would be the anti-bind, I guess. You would be able to, instead of bind it, dismiss it.
I mean,
If we fail, we release it.
If you fail, the world dies.
Binding
And we
it.
have the backup plan
You
that we were preparing back at the fort.
Once it's out, it won't matter.
It was bound and then came back. Kind of. If it gets bound again, this might keep happening again.
Precisely.
It's the safer option, but it's not the stable option. Or the unsafe option, but the one with the permanent ending.
Well, we're just stagnating here anyway, so why put off the inevitable?
The previous team that came down here had a cleric, but one focused on life. We've got one focused on death. We have a powerful necromancer. We have someone who's been working to stop the plague, even if you can't remember the details of it. And I'm not too shabby myself. I think we might have a chance where they did not.
take the other option, we'll never know. We'll forget, and we'll just wander around here. I suppose it's better to take a risk, you know? We've already lost so much.
To be clear, though, the the difference here is not just the lives of people at the Dreadstone Wall are going to continue to be shit for a while. This is, once again, the entire material plane that's at stake here.
Is it selfish of us to want to not sacrifice? You know, we don't want to give up what we are, but... And who knows, maybe someone might come and help us, you know? There are a lot of... This is, as we said, we didn't want people to know that there is adventure down here, but if it gets out, there might be other heroes, there might be a sliver of light out there somewhere.
We probably stand the best chance of anyone. We're as well researched, as well equipped as anyone could be.
There's an old saying, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and naturally they became heroes, so might as well. I'm for let's finish this for the good of the realms.
Nora just kind of winces slightly at the term heroes, like a bad smell.
I sort of like just take it. You know, you get these titles put upon you. You know, hero, necromancer, the plague. You know, you get what you're given.
What is this?
Oh, yeah, no, that's why I've been paranoid. When I was fighting back in Waterdeep, my fighting name was the Plague. So I'm still not convinced I'm not just like a haunted doll possessed by this thing. There's a lot going on here. I have no happy memories.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to just like, okay, and turn back to echo me. Talk me through exactly. I just want to be incredibly clear. How will you transfer the power to us? What power would you be giving to us? How would we use it to defeat Umbrivore?
I'm going to give you away. You're going to love it and hate it at the same time, because you're going to use it now, but you may never be able to use it again in your career. A spell that will take all four of you to cast. That, well, none of you are powerful enough individually to do it, but you'll have to find something that's powerful enough to do it. But cast a true banishment, not some fake chancing, anything like that. This would get rid of it. I don't know where it's from, I can't figure out even really what it is. But from what I understand, it's the reverse effect of this bind. It takes the concept of the bind, and instead of trapping, it pushes away. I've got a limited understanding of how to cast it. I can give that to you when we break the bind, but you can't be anywhere near this place when we break the bind. You need to be back in that fortress.
Well, that's convenient because I'm assuming we'll need the ever-flowing font as the power source.
I don't know what that is.
Right, okay,
Fair
so
enough.
that's a universe that didn't
They
have
don't
the
have
font.
time.
Okay.
So- we probably should go. Just, yeah, I mean, yes, it's risky, but...
Can we communicate now that we know each other exists? Once I leave.
I stop. I die.
Once I leave this room, you die.
Well, if we break the sever and it takes all of my energy and everything from the portal, that thing is going to be juiced up to something we've never experienced. But it's the only way to stop it, truly. You're losing to win.
Sorry. This is me, Nat, going, Mike, my brain has gone blah. I was asking, like, how do we tell them, hello, we've reached safety now, do the thing? And also, like, how do... yeah.
I can also... I can leave a message. I can I've got an item that lets me... Well, it's a thing I can do within a mile. I can leave a short message and trigger it when we're safe. That helps.
A mile, and then run like hell.
Yeah.
The maths isn't great, and I don't like it either. This is the most vague I think I've ever been, or we've ever been in our life.
Yes, I'm surprised that you actually have the capacity for it. It's infuriating.
No, I hate it, but when I'm working with such limited information, plus, like an echo of your intelligence.
Has it taken the memories from you as well?
From what I can tell, just a sliver, like an imprint of who you are. I had a knee-jerk reaction, and that's as far as it got.
Fair enough. It's not important. Are we running?
It turns out I missed a 0. It's actually 10 miles. But yes, let's probably run. Again, I turn around and I come back, and now there's just slight blood on the side. I put something down next to it. Like, there you go. Okay, that should give you a message in a little bit.
At this point, although they've not really acknowledged you, you notice that all 4 of the heroes are looking at you and smiling. It's not like a gratitude smile, it's like a finally.
Thank you for your assistance. We've done our best to protect the fortress. Best of luck in the next world.
The 2 furthest away morph into like ethereal wisps and into the next 2, and those morph into another wisp together, forming in one, and those 2 suck into Nora, all 4 of them forming into one around Nora. Nora turns and looks at herself. I don't like this. And kind of gives you a nod and like turns back to focus on
Before
what she's doing.
that happens, I just want to... Do I see... Okay. Does Moira see the memories of the people in her spirit guardians that she doesn't really recognize, the people in her family members in that episode? She's going to look at that, be a little kind of confused and kind of feel a bit pointed, but she doesn't remember them, so she doesn't know really what that connection is, or if they're still alive. And then put the trust in her team and the people that she does remember, that they'll be able to keep themselves safe or shift as many civilians and themselves out of this plane if they need to, and then turn to Nora and just nod.
I think in the same vein, like Xirius sees a memory. I'm not sure quite how this kind of visualizes, but he remembers being happily married in Baldur's Gate, and then he remembers being in in the fortress. He doesn't quite remember why he left if he was happily married. So he sees this one memory and he's like, not entirely sure whether it's a good thing to get that one back, but better to be complete. And we'll kind of perhaps, like, just while the stuff was going on, we'll have gone around to the 4 heroes and just placed a tool down. Like just an old tool. He doesn't quite remember where he got it, but he just thinks that it must have meant something to him because it's too old to have been useful.
Just before we turn to go, Nora will look back at the portal and see the memory of her with her mum, her mother dying of old age and holding her hand, and thinking about her human mother dying of old age, and sitting there thinking about her father, who was an elf, who looked no older, possibly about the same age as Nora still, and who fucked off and forgot about them a long time ago. And then remembering that that was a little pit of the feeling that she had with Adendra. And then we'll just turn and leave, ready to go.
Amaris gets such a quick glimpse of like, okay, that's my family betraying me. That's the monster hunters not caring. And then just has an image of her in woods wearing a long black dress, intentionally wearing like a witch's hat, holding a cat, and basically giving someone certain advice. And then she just goes, "It's not me. It's not me." Yeah. So be it. And gets prepared to turn.
That's where we'll finish tonight. Thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. Lots of things happened.
Feelings!
More feelings.
We never get
Traps.
the picnic episode. There was kissing. There was a little bit of joy. One sliver of joy.
Briefly.
All the darkness.
That's all you get. But thank you so much for sticking out and listening to this beautiful group of players play a fantastic game. If you enjoyed tonight, we play D&D every Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. UK time. You can also join us on Fridays, again at 6 p.m. UK time for other RPGs. All of our shows are streamed at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg, and you can find all of our content archived at youtube.com/rolltogetherrpg. There are also podcast versions of all of our shows available everywhere. Just search Roll Together and RPG and you'll find us. And a massive thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. There'll be a link in chat now. Do join us. Every penny helps us make the content that we do. And a big thanks again to our sponsors and supporters. And don't forget, we're all over social media as Roll Together RPG. So it's easy as that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.